Yo, let's go and welcome to the video. This one's all about the Plaguewing in 25-man Naxx. The first boss has a DPS check of 1.5 minutes, Noth the Plaguebringer. If you don't meet that check, he's going to teleport away and say goodbye to your Parse. None of the adds on this fight count towards your DPS, so just focus, single target, and pump away. Alkin Frenzy, not really any chance to proc on here unless you taunt one of the adds and get it to hit you, but who's going to do that? So you should be able to get 2 Starfalls off if you open with Starfall with one of your first few GCDs, and then maybe squeeze a second one in between that minute 30 when the boss teleports. Possibly in like a 1.5 months, 5-6 weeks, the fight will be short enough to where you won't even need the Glyph of Starfall. Maybe we can switch to Moonfire or Starfire depending on how our rotation is looking. Moonfire might be making a comeback. But that's it for the first boss. Currently the rank 1 Boomy Parse is about 8,300 DPS from Pava Druid. If you don't know who they are, they were the Boomy in the world first, Sunwell clear back at the end of TBC. So grats Pava. The second boss is Heigan with the safety dance. There's a soft DPS check of 1.5 minutes, and then the boss teleports to the platform and you have to do the dance. So your Parse isn't completely gone if you don't meet that check. Even the top Parse of 7,400, I think it is, was 1:35, so they had to do a tiny dance, little 2-step. But in a couple weeks, I think everybody will be at that point where the dance will just be a non-issue. If you do need to dance, put up your instant cast, your Moonfire, your Insect Swarm. Use your Typhoon while you're moving. Once you get to each end, you can cast a couple Wraths. You can sneak like 3 in there if you're right on the edge of the poison wall and you start casting immediately. So just try to do your best while you're doing the dance. Now this fight might be one of those where you can stand in the slime. I'm not recommending this to get the Alkin Frenzy to proc, but other than that, probably not useful to have points in Alkin Frenzy this fight. The Glyph of Focus kind of hinders your Starfall on this fight, so you can swap that off. If you want to spam Moonfire during the dance, then don't use the Glyph of Moonfire. So it's a bit hard to pick another Glyph. You could just take off focus and then put focus back on at the end of the fight. But if you're standing too close, then the boss puts up a debuff on you, increasing your casting time by way too much. So you don't want to be close into that range, but you should be able to get 2 Starfalls off before the dance. Lastly, we have Loatheb. So since we're coming from Heigan and we didn't want Glyph of Focus, make sure to have the Glyph of Focus for Loatheb so you don't kill a Spore that is across the room. If you're in the middle of the room stacked on Loatheb, you should be able to Starfall immediately. It's a little riskier. You can wait until after that first Spore comes out and then immediately Starfall after if you're trying to be safe. And hopefully you're in one of the first 2 Spore groups. Other than that, it's a catch-up game, so good luck. Engineering comes in clutch on this fight. As soon as a Spore spawns that it's your group, you can Nitro Boost over, stand on the Spore, wait for it to explode, and then continue to DPS until like Insect Swarm or Moonfire is off the boss, and you can use the instant cast to get back into your main position. You don't have to immediately run back and not cast anything. You can sit there for a couple seconds and cast a couple Wraths or Starfires. As far as Alkin Frenzy goes, I got 1 proc off of the last 2 weeks, and I want to say it was from a Spore dying. It was something really weird. I might still have a point or 2 in Alkin Frenzy for that fight. 10 seconds of almost guaranteed crits with 10% damage bonus is pretty good, even on a 4 or 5 minute fight. The top DPS right now is about 8,500 DPS and just over 4 minutes for the fight length. And that about sums up the Plaguewing.